Roger Hallett has made a name for himself through his Bath Panorama, a 360-degree painting of the city of Bath, which until recently was an exhibition at the Thames Barrier in London. In order to achieve that view in a painting, Roger went up in a tethered balloon and photographed the area, pieced the photos together, and then painted from the photographs. Once complete, the picture was hung in a circle, and in the middle there's a viewing platform 30 feet away from the canvas, designed to take 60 people. So when you see the view, it's as if you're enclosed within the picture. It took Roger 5 years to complete the painting, and never once did he get bored with the subject.
I found it fascinating. I loved doing it. It was, when I came to the end of it, it was like coming to the end of a wonderful book you didn't want to finish. I was really sorry when I came to the end of it, because you see, you're painting so many different things. I mean, the pictures we have here are, of course, a lot smaller, but the point is, you've got so many different facets to include, you see. It's never boring. If you're a painter, it's never boring painting. If you had to repeat the same thing every day, of course, it would be boring, but every day is a different thing to do.
At his current exhibition, there are a variety of styles, but for his panorama, the artist used the same style throughout the 360 degrees.
I think I do tend to have two different styles. I've been told I've got two basically different styles, and I think that's because one style, the panoramas you see here, these are wall panoramas, as you might say. They work more or less from the outside going inwards, if you can see what I mean. You work from what you see, and it goes inward, and that creates a style. But the other paintings, more emotional paintings, work more or less from the inside coming out. It's a kind of opposite thing. So it seems like two styles.
Coming down from painting on such a large scale to the size of the pictures that are on show this week isn't difficult at all, as the same techniques are used in both cases.
With the panorama, the people got the impression that because it was so large, that you must be working with bathfuls of paint and brooms and kind of going like this with brooms all over the place. It's not like that at all. I used exactly the same brushes on the panorama as I did with these. Exactly the same. It is the same, it's just a painting, but the painting is huge. But if you take one section of it, it's just the same as these.
Roger Hallett has used 3 media for the landscapes which are in the exhibition: oils, watercolours and pencil drawings. Yet he considers that he's basically an oil painter, feeling more at home when working with oils. Although he's originally from Bath, he now lives in France, yet he's here on the rock depicting scenes from Gibraltar, Spain and Morocco.
Well, I've moved to France because I'm so very fond of France, and now I'm kind of got to retirement age and the family have all left home. I thought I'd move to France. That's where I live there. And because it's only just up the road, as you might say, from here, in the southwest corner of France, I like to come down here and see friends I've made in this time of the year, and go to Morocco for a spell and get some work together. So that's why I come this way.
What's different about the exhibition is that interspersed between the landscapes are framed copies of poems written by Bick.
It's just that I like this lady's poems very much. Linda's poems are to me, very fresh, and when I say simple, I don't mean appealingly simple to me. And I thought they would make a nice little further dimension to my exhibition. You know, you go along looking at paintings, and all of a sudden you see a poem. It's like a bit of relief. They have absolutely nothing to do with the paintings. Nothing at all to do with the paintings. No. But maybe there's something in the attitude of the poems and the attitude of the paintings that's similar. That I don't know.
The exhibition is on for 10 days until the 17th of March. All the paintings on show are for sale, with prices ranging from £40 to £150. Once the pictures are taken down, Roger returns home to continue with the projects he's involved with during this year.
I've got to go back to France because I'm taking a course in portrait painting where I live in France, and the students are waiting for me, so I have to get on with that when I go back, and I've got a lot of work ready to do for this next year of Moroccan paintings. So I hope to be down this way again with an exhibition later on.
In last Tuesday's Video Gazette, we turn to his co-exhibitor, Linda Bick. There are, hanging amongst Roger's paintings, some decorated and framed poems written by Linda over the last 18 months. This is her second joint exhibition in Gibraltar, having previously exhibited with local artist Peter Vasquez.
I think most people enjoyed it. This is an extension of that. Rather than carry on with the paintings, I really went more into the poems and illustrating the poems perhaps a little deeper. And having met Roger last year here and exhibiting with him in France, when he was coming down this year, I thought it was another opportunity to exhibit. I was inspired by the flowers and the little creatures and things around me, and it does have a certain philosophy. I think in looking around you at nature, you have to tie that in with other things in life, and I think the flowers, the stories of the flowers and the creatures are saying something. I mean, they always say something to me, and that's how I like to put it across in the poems.
Linda has been living in southern Spain for a few years now and enjoys its spectacular countryside. A frequent visitor to Morocco, Linda's inspiration not only comes from her favoured environment, but also from other poets.
I have read quite a lot of poetry, mainly traditional poetry, but also there's a lady called Pam Ayres who writes in a very simplistic style, and I enjoy her style, and perhaps my style is a little bit similar to that. It's got a sort of tongue-in-cheek style about it. I think I started to write them for myself, but then some of these poems are actually inspired by other people. Even though I might have guised them as flowers or creatures, some of them have been inspired by different personalities. And I've always given the poems to the people as I've written about.
The poems are well laid out and neatly presented, with an almost childlike appeal, very much in sympathy with the actual style of her writing.
I think it's really a very simplistic style. It's easy to read. It can appeal to children. And I like to think that it's got this tongue-in-cheek thing. It's fun to read and easy to understand. I'd like to go on to other themes, writing about other themes. I think I've written a lot of poems for people in other ways, you know, birthdays, anniversaries and things like that. And this collection, I think, is perhaps not totally complete. If I see something I want to write about, I will add to it. But I'd like to go on and do some other poems. I still write songs about things, and perhaps I can get some poems in another sphere as well. The first poem that I actually wrote is called Amongst Eucalypts, which really is my favourite because it's describing how I've come to now live here. I used to live in Australia amongst eucalypts, and now I'm living here amongst eucalypts. So really that was the one that started it all. But it has been the area, and now I'm living in Castilla, and there's beautiful flowers and creatures around there as well. I've seen the windings of a dry creek bed and white limbs standing against a bright blue sky, bleached white bones and canyons shining red and hot amongst eucalypts. Or a lazy river rolling on its way between wide banks cutting through a fertile plain, bringing water to where rural blocks lay green amongst eucalypts. Now many townies show a new awareness of a thirsty land, and instead of European roses grow more native plants amongst eucalypts. And there, in eastern schoolyards far, Turkish children laugh and play, or Californian artists on their western shore paint amongst eucalypts. On this Spanish coast, their branches brave the storms, providing shade and shelter where need be, and mid their aromatic leaves, for now, I've made a home here amongst eucalypts.
Joint exhibition by artist Roger Hallett and poet Linda Bick remains open at the John Mackintosh Hall until the 17th of March.